that I had MS, but I had no idea. I played tennis for 2 hours in the blazing sun. I remember it was a July 4th weekend, and I just looked it up. It was the second hottest July in the history of July. I mean, everywhere, period. So anyway, after that, playing for 2 hours in the blazing sun, a couple days later, the bottom of my feet were numb, and I just chalked up to stupidity for playing in the sun like that, and the heat, and a sports injury. And then I had a couple other things going on. I had the classic Lemet's sign, the vibration at the base of the spine. I had that happening too, and I thought, again, drugged and thought weird, but I don't know, who knows. So one morning I woke up in 2001, the end of 2001, and my whole midsection was numb. And I thought, okay, something's wrong. So long story short, I ended up at Saud Sadiq, who is a top neurologist, and I was diagnosed it was the beginning of 2002 that I was diagnosed with MS. And I hid it for, I don't know, 12 years because I wasn't really having anything happen to me that it was obvious that I had MS. Not that it ever is obvious that anybody has MS, I think. Nobody can tell what's going on most of the time. But I started in 2015, I started telling people when people would ask what was wrong because I was using a walking stick, rather than making up stories about some crazy sports injury, I started to say I have MS. So I came out, I like to say I felt like coming out of the closet again. And that was in 2015. And that was the same year that I started looking for other people with MS, because nobody understands MS unless you actually have MS. And the other thing I started to look for was the gay community, because I had ended a 10-year relationship. And so, here I am, single and limping, or, walking sideways, side to side. And that's how I found Pericles, because he was doing his piece on gay people with MS, which was odd. Like, I couldn't believe I found that. And I also found another group, Mary, My Counterpain, with Kate Milliken. And so now I have an extensive amount of people with MS in my life that I know. And, but, being 55, and having MS, and I don't know, meeting someone, I've sort of accepted that I'm probably going to be single for the rest of my life. And that's it. That's where I'm at. So I'm looking forward to this, because I wanted to now meet mutual people that share everything that I share, that I have, the MS, being gay, not that I have it, but and being a woman.
See, that's wonderful information, and you and I have a lot in common as far as our age. I mean, I'm about to be 54. I was diagnosed in 2001. The only difference is I am not gay, and and I wanted to make clear, which is a big deal, especially with this project. Look at Kim. There's a big difference, but I am and I wish my friend Suzette was here, because she told me when I told her that, I said I am not gay, but I said I have a brother who is, and also I'm just passionate about just human rights and civil rights and gay rights and just the rights of human beings, period. And so that's one thing that drew me deeply into this project. And when talking with Kim, one of our many conversations was, where is everybody? And I told Kim, I said, you're the only one. This is years ago. I said, you're the only one that I know who's gay with MS. And I said, where is everybody? And so then luckily, and I am recording this now, and again, it's going to be a private recording. I don't think this is the time to make it public at all. But there will be a time, coming up in the future. But I am going to send this to Pericles, because thanks to him, Pericles, I always get that name. Yeah, I always say Pericles. But anyway, he was fantastic in helping pull some people together for me to contact. And Elizabeth, you were one of those wonderful people. And then, but Kim, I'm so thrilled that you're here. So anyway, okay, so enough about my little story, and forgive me, I tend to jibber jabber, so I'm going to be quiet now and move on to Kim. Kim's going to have an interesting story as far as relationships and her and something different. And I think that's why this is going to be really interesting. So Kim, the floor is yours.
Okay. I have primary progressive MS. I was diagnosed at 23 years of age, October the 20th, 2008. I was in a terrible car accident when I was 21 in 2006, and I never gained function of my legs again. Like, I never felt them. And I gotta tell you something, Mary. This past Monday, I got feeling back in my legs. It's been
Wow.
13 years, almost 14.
Wow.
So I've been walking with forearm crutches now. So that's what I'm doing. But I am 34. I'm a lesbian, full fledged. I came out when I was 9. When I was 9 years.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it came out when I was 9. So I've dealt with a lot of obstacles, as you could say, in my life, but I never let that hinder me. And once I realized my legs didn't work, I started doubting who I was. Like, am I good enough? Am I going to get a woman? Am I going to just be able to do normal things again? And then, it took me almost to try and kill myself for me to, go to the hospital and meet a therapist. Well, the doctor put me in contact with a therapist. That's the only way they would discharge me from the hospital, was that I promised I would go. So I went to a therapist. I saw that therapist for 2.5 years. And he left me with a new mindset of, why not me? So my thing is, hey, I can take whatever, just throw it at me. But just know there's someone out there for everyone. Trust me. Only people that know I have MS are my immediate family. People that come in contact with me. Cousins that I don't never see, they don't know what I have. They know that I'll use obstacles, I use instruments, but they don't know what I have. And that's my personal choice, because we're not face to face. We don't see each other like that. I don't need to let you know about my life. But yeah, relationships are a wonderful thing. And you get it when you least expect it. When you're not looking, it just falls into play. Um, I gotta be honest. I have an aide, and my aide is my partner. Well, yeah, she's my partner, and it's amazing, because I wouldn't want no one else to be able to help me and just do for me, and I not understand why they're doing something. They don't give me an explanation. But she does, and she wants the best for me, which makes it a plus. And when Mary came to me about this group, like, I'm an open book. I like to talk. It's what I like to do. So it was fine with me, because I believe in networking. Without networking, there's nothing, because everybody needs somebody. Everybody needs a friend. So that's where I sit with that. But thank you, Mary.
Well, it's interesting also when let me ask you a question.
Okay.
As far as certain members of your family, like your cousins and everybody. So when you were walking around, walking around. That was the wrong thing to say. But
Look,
before, but
I was walking. I was walking with the rollers. I was walking with it,
okay. So, but you didn't say it was MS. What were their did they have questions? No one said anything.
I don't know. When they asked, you know what I said? Life happens. You
Yeah.
take that wherever you want. Life happens.
So no, so to this day, the only people that know you have MS are your partner and your friends on Facebook. Which, by the way, Kim's got a nice, wonderful group which we can get to in just a moment. But the rest of your family, no, they don't know you have MS.
Uncles, they don't know I have MS. Uncles and aunts, they don't know. They know that something is wrong with me, and all I ever tell them is life happens.
Well, okay. Well, so you chose so you chose not to tell them anything about that, or you just thought it doesn't matter and actually, Elizabeth, I want to ask you that same question as far as your family, as far as how open are you about that? Does everybody know with your family too? Um Kim, what do you have to say about that? I mean, meaning,
Okay.
the rest of your family. Why, in other words, why didn't you disclose that to the rest of your family? Because you're so open about it, and you do such amazing things with your MS and for MS. So,
The reason I didn't tell my uncles and aunts and certain cousins is because we live far apart.
okay.
They don't pick up the phone to call me or chit chat with me or nothing like that. So it's like my health shouldn't matter to you. And that's where I reside with that. Like if they were to take the initiative and just call or come down, take a drive and come down to see me, well, then we might be able to get a friendship going, and then you possibly can know. But I feel like why waste my energy, my voice to somebody I really don't see?
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Elizabeth, what about you?
Um, I said earlier that I hid it for over 12 years, primarily because of my work. I never want, and because people were not knowledgeable about MS. So back when I was diagnosed in 2002, people assumed that I'd be in a wheelchair in a month, and then I probably wouldn't last much longer after that. So I decided not to tell anybody because I didn't want people to make assumptions about myself. And quite frankly, I worked up until 2015, standing and walking and as a creative director for major brands. And I went as far as I could, but there was no need. It's actually interesting because I was working for Starwood Hotels and Resorts and Hotels, and I just met up with a group that I worked with there, and they were shocked. They were because when I was working there, I had MS. So I was there from 2001 to 2006 or something, and I traveled the world for them, and nobody knew because I didn't tell them. And I would do, back then I was doing Avonex, which is the intramuscular injection, and I would get flu-like symptoms. So I would do the shots on the weekends so that it wouldn't affect me during the week. And if I had a relapse, they would pump me full of steroids. And, I even think I probably went to work with an IV line in my arm. But, I wear a suit, so who would know? Nobody would ever know. So there was no need for me to tell anybody. And I was guarded because of it. And then I finally came out again.
I love someone's chiming in here. I'm not sure who
Yeah.
it is, but anyway, Elizabeth, what you just said, your words were so powerful as far as, you know, you felt like you were coming out again. And I think that's really, really powerful. And, you know, I made note of that. So anyway, I think it's something that I don't know. You know, well, you know, like with Kim, you know, she hers was pretty much instantaneous. You know, for the most part, as far as being on the basketball court, and she was you know, playing basketball, and you know, and kind of like boom. No legs, you know, didn't have anything to, you know, it didn't have any movement. And so it was like, you know, again, it's the difference between relapsing, remitting, and I still hate the word remitting. I really do, as far as you know, remitting meaning remission, because that's how I was diagnosed also, with relapsing, remitting. But you know, Kim at such a young age, being diagnosed with primary progressive. And that's the thing, when you're hit with that, it's fast and furious. And but the fact, but so, you know, and today's discussion, and this discussion in general, is not about, you know, what drug, you know, people are taking or not taking, but if you look at some of the things that Kim is doing, it's really quite fabulous. I mean, she's you know, done, you know, wheelchair tennis, and but also it just kind of goes further than that. I would like, excuse me for kind of going, you know, bink on the conversation. Who's calling in?
That's actually me, Casey. The audio was breaking up on my laptop, again, bandwidth issues. So I am able to watch you guys, but I'm using the phone to listen.
Okay. Anyway, well, okay. So, Casey, have you? Okay, we really haven't gotten. We've told the stories about MS and being, but we haven't really come into the conversation as far as what everybody, and of course, like I said, you know, there's some people that had to drop out at the last minute. And so therefore, although I am recording this because it's going to be really helpful for me to start my article, but I think there's so much more to come from this. And so therefore, I'd like to kind of delve into what everybody has seen or felt or feels like should be different with, maybe, you know, with the MS organizations or with society in general, as far as, again, let me go back to my initial conversation with Kim, and then even talking with Pericles, that I couldn't find. I mean, I am very much involved in the MS communities, and until I met Pericles, I still never found anybody who was a part of the LGBTQ community, and so that it bothered me, and I wondered. I was like, you know, surely, you know, there are people. You know, and going back to his articles, and again, you know, if anybody needs some extra articles as far as what his research has portrayed, and what he's seen, and what he's accomplished, I will send those out via email. But at the same time, there's something missing. Are people not speaking up? Are people feeling? Are there problems as far as the MS organizations, and meaning?
Let me speak to that.
Thank you.
Let me speak to that.
Thank you, Casey.
We have actually been looking at this topic on and off over the years, and we have sought out opinions from our medical advisors. And even just yesterday, I was having a discussion with a gentleman who is the head of LGBT healthcare engagement for a major insurer. And he is a gay man himself. And his feeling was that the needs of people with MS in the LGBT community, medically speaking, aren't any different than they are for individuals who are not members of the LGBT community. My question, and what has kept me coming back to this topic, what I hope to learn from you ladies, Kim and Elizabeth, is whether you think there are social needs in the LGBT community that are different and that our organization should be addressing. Some of the things that have come up over the years, we have had people say that they feel that there's more stigma in the LGBT community. We've had people say that they feel that there may be less family support for some members of the LGBT community, and that can create problems because we know MS is a family disease. But there's really no data out there that I'm aware of that's really supporting those ideas. So what we're concerned with are your thoughts and your experiences, what you as members of this community feel like we as an organization should be doing to help. That's what I hope to find out in this process.
Wow. For me personally, it was interesting because I mentioned it to a couple of my friends that I was speaking to you guys, and they said, well, what's the difference if you're gay and you have MS, or you're straight and you have MS? And I thought, yeah, well, that's a good question, I guess. But I think that overall, there are stigmas, as you said, about MS. And is it magnified? I don't know. I'm not, it's unclear to me, but I will tell you this. I was dating for a while. I was doing online, and I would go on dates, and I would have my walking stick with me. I would try to get to wherever we were meeting first so that I could sort of hide it. It's difficult to tell someone that I have MS and watch them run for the door, because who wants to be in a relationship? But I don't know, is that gay or straight, or I can't put my finger on that.
See, that's interesting right there. Just a quick comment, because that's why I haven't dated in 10 years because when I came out as far as finding a guy, and I did the online dating thing too, and as a straight person, and but of course I would say, well, I have MS, but of course I'm mobile. I didn't have a cane, I didn't have a wheelchair, I didn't have any other mobile device, and so I looked, with again, this is 10 years ago. I've since progressed quite a bit, but at the same time, I have no desire for dating whatsoever. But I think I think the dating thing is, it's hard when you have a chronic illness, because even though you might meet a guy or a girl or whoever you're interested in, you may say, I have this, whether it be lupus, MS, or what have you. If you look a certain way, they may want to just get through the date, and maybe even want to get through getting something sexual. I'm just not going to say it, but they may want to go in that direction, or they just want to. Bottom line is, bottom line for me is, no one called me back. I'll just put it that way. No one called me back. So therefore I think, whether straight or gay, it's that when they think, especially when they think of MS in their brain, they think, oh my gosh, this is something I can't handle and I can't take care of and I don't want to take care of. And that's the reason for my divorce. My ex-husband could not handle having, and he did not want to handle having a sick wife. And so therefore I think that's an interesting topic to maybe put into kind of over here. I don't know. That's something to consider, you know. But overall, I think, you know, talking about just the whole the stigma and things that Casey was talking about as far as being left out of the whole picture of the MS community. How can things, Casey, I'm getting I'm getting caught up in my jibber jabber. Can you help me out here?
Yeah, I think it comes down to, I think what you're asking comes down to visibility. You know, we don't really see anything particularly visible for LGBT people in the MS community. And I guess the question is there a need for that? Or maybe not even a need, but is there a desire for that?
Okay. For one, with me being just all out, okay, like I said, I've been out since I've been 9 and I'm 34. So yeah, been out for a long time. Okay. March is MS month. That's orange. That's MS all day. The LGBTQ community, we have a month as well, and our colors are the rainbow. So if you want to get MS and the LGBTQ community together, we need to come up with our own little month just to celebrate us, because that's what we don't have. And in the MS community, you don't see postcards come out with same couples on it. When they send those brochures out for a couples retreat, you see straight. And everybody in the MS community is not straight. So if you would have asked me, have I ever been on any of those retreats? No. Why? Because I would have felt out of place.
Right.
That's just one thing. But I feel like if you're gonna do a relationship, couples therapy retreat or whatever, just put a big heart and put love on it. And that way it includes everyone. Because when I get those brochures and I see the picture and I'm like, oh, that's a man and a woman. Nah, I ain't going. Because I never want to feel left out. Having MS, yeah, that's one issue. But being part of the rainbow family, that's a whole nother issue. So it's like two whammies on one person. And it's like, where do you fit in? And then I had to realize you don't fit in. You make your own and people will join you. Because we don't live in a box. I don't believe in a box. So we don't live in a box. It's not peaches and cream. It's none of that. We have to make our own little community. I forgot, Mary, to send this to Ted. I so totally forgot. But I'll make sure that Ted gets this.
Would you do that? Because to be honest with you, there's a couple of people who I don't know if they couldn't make it or they chose not to make it. But a good example is see, honestly, and this is something that I can ask Pericles, but I don't know if Alex is Elizabeth, you were part of some of his projects, so maybe you can shed some insight here. And if you can't, that's fine. But there's Adrian and Alex. Do you know if they're men or women? Do you know?
I don't know.
Okay, I don't know. I don't know either. But I know that Alex was the one who was really, really wanting to join us today. And at the last minute, he said he had some college projects to deal with, but he's on the East Coast. But anyway, but my point being is, look at us, we're all women right here. Okay. And so we don't, yeah. So Kim, if you would talk to Ted about this, and because you know him more than I do.
Yeah,
And
I can talk to you.
yeah, I would love that, because here's what I think. I think another, not just, maybe not just one, again, today is more of an introductory thing. I'm recording it, but I'm not gonna, I will put this up on YouTube as a private thing that I'm gonna send to you all, so that you all can look at it and see what everybody's saying, and then kind of come back to me with some notes and stuff like that. But otherwise, as far as putting something up on YouTube, as far as like a really grand conversation, today's not the day. I can tell, just because too many people had to bow out. So yeah, but I would love to have more men's input. I'm part of a community called Healthy Voices, and there's a huge LGBTQ community involved with that. Huge. Um, and some of them have cancer, some of them have lupus, some of them have HIV, and that's part of what Pericles was talking. Pericles, forgive me, because when you think of LGBTQ and disease, and part of his project talked about the focus on HIV, and it's not
Right.
fair. It's not fair. It's not right. And he proves that, and he says that.
Yeah, because people just assume because we sleep with the same sex that we're gonna get it. No, it's proven that people sharing needles and doing drugs, they get it faster. They get it a whole lot faster than we do.
Yeah, well, yes, and also, there's people that have HIV who did get it from, maybe another, especially men. There are medications out there to where they are living well and and longer and stronger, with HIV. But see, so therefore, with the whole, there's something that's being missed with the MS community and LGBTQ, and so therefore, I think that the more that we can, talk about it and bring more people in, would be the best thing. And forgive me, Casey, I've been having a few, I'm having kind of a rough day, and so therefore with my language, and I can tell I'm kind of losing my um, train of thought right now. Can you kind of help me a little bit here with what I'm trying to say?
Sure. I think that, getting as many voices from the LGBT community together, and getting those insights to know if there's anything additionally that we as an MS organization should be doing is important, but equally important is just telling your stories, because Kim, as you said, you generally see, profiles and images of straight couples who are dealing with this, but of course, LGBTQ community, you're all dealing with this as well, and those are stories that we also want to tell. So I think, Mary, you're right. Next step would be maybe let's have one more meeting, see if we can get a wider array of voices.
Yeah.
And look for any issues that we need to address or assist with. But also, I'm just very glad to have met you guys today. And if you would be interested in sharing any aspect of your stories, we would be happy to do that.
Can I say a couple of things? One, I think that what's very important is connection. So, we connect with people that have MS, one, to connect with people that are gay, two. So then it would how great to connect with people that are gay and have MS. So I think there's a great deal to talk about with connection. I am also working on or part of a documentary that's being filmed by the by the Nantucket Project. And you know, I'm the only one that's being filmed. There's a group of us, 5, 6, 7 people that are being filmed, and I'm the only one that's gay. So that's important that I'm getting that message out through the documentary. That'll be wonderful. The other side of it is talking about bringing a male gay person into this. I don't know what the percentages are, but I think it's only 25% men versus 75% women with MS, right?
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, exactly. And so whether it be, you know, gay or straight, yes, more women are diagnosed with MS than men are. And I've noticed that, you know, the more I could be, well, yeah, more when men are diagnosed, I've noticed that they get hit more fast and furiously, I think, than women do. I could be wrong. You know, things are changing now as far as diagnostics and how quickly people are diagnosed and put on medications. So it's a very it continues to change. It's really fascinating to me. It continues to change. You know, uh, the findings, you know, you know, science and research and findings, it continues to change, but still more women, yes, are diagnosed with MS, and whether they be gay, straight, or you know, otherwise. So anyway, okay, so so shall we, unless there's anything else, and first of all, Elizabeth, you put that into really, really good perspective as far as number one, connection, okay? And number two, you know, the gay community. And then number three, you know, as far as, you know, finding the men, where are the men? And that's why I said, you know, there's 2 names on my list that were given to me from Pericles, and that was Adrian and Alex. I see those could be male or female names. I don't know. And my only communication with them has been through email. And so therefore, that's something that I will look into. And also, I think, again, what I'll do is I'm going to send you guys this. I'm going to put this up on YouTube as a private link, and I'll send it to you guys. And that way, if there's something you think, oh, I should have said this, or oh, this is another really good comment, go ahead and add that to your notes. But I think that this is well deserved of a conversation, maybe to try to really push forward into maybe February. Okay. My goal is, even before this chat started today, my goal is to put something together for an article for the MS Foundation. Probably, I'm thinking March, April, okay? But I don't want to, again, ever since I put this into motion, I knew that I wasn't going to rush it. I wanted to make sure that it was right. And so therefore, however much time it takes to put this together, that's fine. So anyway, so let's see if we can't get other voices. Like Casey was saying, we need voices. We need more voices. This is a really good start today, okay? But we need more voices. I'm sad that Suzette is really finding her voice as far as being an activist, not just with LGBTQ, with MS, but also inclusivity and diversity. With she's from Puerto Rico, and she's really focused on a lot of really interesting activist type ways of using her voice. And so therefore, I think this is really going to be wonderful, and it's overdue. It's much needed, and I haven't seen the MS Society put this together, or the MSAA, and so since I do write, I love working with Casey and everybody at the MS Foundation. I would love for this to be put together and presented, for as part of the MS Foundation. If that sounds, I'm losing my thought process. Again, I'm a person with MS, and so therefore my brain kind of goes bleh. So anyway.
Right, track nerd. Like, I get it. You want us to be able to give them a little outlet, a different outlook on how to deal with LGBTQ and MS. Yeah.
Well, and your voices are so important. They're so important, and because more and more people are becoming more accepting of LGBTQ. It's being talked about more often. So let's bring this into the healthcare system. Okay. As far as stigma, and Elizabeth, you said something wonderful as far as, when you said that you were hiding it from your previous employer, and so you said a comment saying that you felt like you were coming out all over again. I paraphrase that, but you said you felt like you were coming out all over again, when not just gay, but with MS.
It's true. I've been coming out with my MS. When I was working at these jobs, it was no problem to let them know that I was gay. That was fine. But it was not telling them that I had MS was important.
See, that's interesting. Yeah.
It is. I never thought about it until you just said it. So yeah.
Okay.
Well, I want to thank everybody for being here, and thank you, Elizabeth and Kim, for sharing a little bit of your story. You've definitely given me some things to think about, and I definitely hope that we can continue this discussion and identify ways that we can increase the connection for people in the LGBTQ community who have MS, and increase the visibility in our publications and all of the things that we do. We want to make sure that people in the LGBTQ community feel represented as part of the MS community that we portray. That's very important. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, guys. Let's go ahead and bring this to a close, and we will reconvene again when others can share their voices as well. And I will put this together and send you a link for this video, and we'll just kind of go from there. Does that sound good?
Sounds good. Great to meet you, Kim.
Nice to meet you too.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.